Periods. Life can feel heavy sometimes. You wake up, face struggles, and wonder if anyone sees your pain or if anyone cares. But hear this, God is speaking to you right now. Experience. Not in some distant way, not through a stranger, but directly to your heart. This is your moment to listen, to receive, and to act. God has a message for you. Experience, and it matters more than you know. You may feel invisible at times, as if the world does not notice your struggles, your pain, or even your small victories. Experience. Life can be overwhelming, and there are moments when it seems that no one sees the tears you've shed, the battles you fought, or the burdens you carry alone. Experience. But let me remind you of something powerful. God sees you. Every detail of your life is known to Him. He knows your heart, your thoughts, experience, and even the things you do not dare to speak out loud. Nothing is hidden from Him. The trials you endure are not overlooked, and your efforts, even those that seem unnoticed, experience, are recorded in the eyes of the Lord. This is not just comforting. It is a foundation you can stand on, an unshakable truth in the midst of uncertainty. When life feels unfair, experience, when people let you down, or when circumstances press on you like a heavy weight, remember that God is watching. The psalmist reminds us that the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and His ears are attentive to their cry. This is not a distant God, indifferent to your pain. No, experience. This is a God who is intimately involved in the details of your life. He sees the nights you've cried yourself to sleep, the moments when you've questioned your purpose. Experience, and the times you felt like giving up entirely. He sees your struggles and your perseverance. He sees your faith even when it feels weak. And most importantly, experience, He sees your potential, the future He has prepared for you, and the strength He is cultivating within you. Experience. It is easy to feel unnoticed when the world does not acknowledge our worth. You might wonder if your efforts matter, if your prayers are heard. Experience, or if your life can ever make a difference. But God's perspective is entirely different. What may seem small, insignificant, experience, or unremarkable in human eyes is monumental in God's plan. Every act of kindness, every moment of patience, experience, every prayer whispered in the quiet of your heart is seen and valued by Him. Your life is not accidental, it is intentional. God is aware of every step you take, every decision you make, and every challenge you face, and He is actively working behind the scenes for your good. Experience. Understanding that God sees you transforms the way you approach life. When you realize that your struggles are not ignored, you gain strength to persevere. Experience. You no longer rely solely on human approval or validation because the one who truly matters sees and values your journey. Even when you feel alone, you are not. Experience. Even when people fail you, God has not failed you. He is present in the moments when you cannot feel His presence, and His watchful eye is a source of comfort and assurance. Experience. Life's hardships may try to convince you otherwise, but the truth remains God is aware, God is near, and God is actively involved in your story. Moreover, experience. Understanding that God sees you invites a sense of accountability and purpose. It reminds you that your actions have eternal significance. Every choice, every word, experience, and every effort matters to Him. It encourages you to live intentionally, to embrace integrity, and to pursue righteousness. Experience, knowing that your life is visible in the spiritual realm. This is not to instill fear, but to inspire hope and confidence. The God who sees you is also the God who loves you. Experience, the God who provides and the God who will not abandon you. Your journey may be difficult, but it is also purposeful. The trials you face today are not wasted. Experience, they are part of a larger plan that only God fully comprehends. Finally, remember that God's awareness is not passive. It is active and interventionist. Experience. He is not a distant observer sitting on the sidelines. He is a loving Father who desires to guide, protect, and bless you. He sees the roadblocks in your path. Experience, the traps set by your enemies, and the weaknesses that try to hold you back. Yet, He also sees your resilience, your potential, and the possibilities that lie ahead. Experience. He is ready to move in your favor when the timing is right, and His plans are always for your ultimate good. Understanding this, you can face life with confidence. Experience, knowing that the Creator of the universe is intimately aware of your journey, attentive to your prayers. Experience, and actively orchestrating your life for His glory and your fulfillment. Sometimes God does not answer in the way we expect, and often His guidance is not immediately obvious. Experience, life has a way of presenting situations that seem confusing or even discouraging, and in those moments, it is easy to question whether God is speaking at all. But the truth is, He is always speaking. God communicates in ways that may not be loud or dramatic. His voice can come through a subtle nudge in your spirit, a quiet thought in your mind. Experience, a verse that stands out in your reading, or a situation that directs you to pause and consider a different path. If you are attentive, experience, you will realize that God's hand is moving constantly, guiding, redirecting, and preparing you for what lies ahead. His ways are higher than our ways, experience, and his timing is perfect even when it feels delayed. The redirection that God provides is not meant to frustrate or punish you. It is meant to protect you, to prepare you, experience, and to lead you to a better future. There are times when you may be heading toward a path that seems safe or familiar, yet God knows it may not be the right place for you. His voice calls you to adjust, to turn, to pause, or to take a step of faith in a new direction. Proverbs 3:6 reminds us, in all your ways submit to him, experience, and he will make your path straight. This is more than a comforting verse. It is a principle that requires action. God's guidance demands attentiveness and obedience. It requires that we listen carefully, discern his voice, and trust him even when we do not fully understand the destination. Redirection often comes through circumstances that challenge us or force us to rethink our plans. You may experience closed doors, delays, or unexpected detours. And though it may seem inconvenient or disappointing, these moments are often God's way of protecting you from harm or steering you towards something far better than you could have imagined. When a door closes, it is not always a rejection. Sometimes it is divine intervention. When plans fall apart, it is not necessarily, or sometimes it is God's preparation. Life's detours are not random. They are carefully orchestrated opportunities for growth, preparation, and alignment with God's ultimate purpose for your life. God also speaks through the inner promptings of your heart. There are moments when a thought or feeling arises that seems to guide you subtly, urging you to make a change. Reach out to someone or take a step that requires courage. These promptings are often God's way of communicating his will to you. He uses your instincts, your wisdom, and even your past experiences to direct you toward the path he has chosen. Listening to these nudges is essential, because ignoring them may cause you to miss opportunities that could transform your life. Obedience, even in small things, signals to God that you are ready for greater direction and blessing. Faith plays a crucial role in recognizing God's redirection. It requires trusting him even when the path is unclear. It requires believing that what seems like a setback is actually a setup for something greater. When you are willing to surrender your plans to God and allow him to lead, you open yourself to his wisdom and provision. This is not passive waiting, it is active partnership. It is walking in faith, seeking God's guidance in prayer, and being attentive to his voice in every situation. Redirection is often the first step toward your breakthrough. The precursor to a season of blessing, growth, and fulfillment. Finally, God's redirection is always rooted in his love and perfect knowledge. He sees the end from the beginning. He knows the challenges, the pitfalls, and the opportunities that lie ahead. He knows your strengths and weaknesses, your potential, and your limitations. Every step he redirects you to take is measured, intentional, and designed to bring about the best outcome for your life. What may seem inconvenient, frustrating, or confusing today is part of a larger, divine plan that is unfolding. If you will pay attention and trust him, you will see his faithfulness. You will discover that the detours were not obstacles, but opportunities. The delays were not denials, but preparation. The changes in direction were not mistakes, but divine strategy. Life will test you. There will be moments when circumstances press down, when challenges seem insurmountable. And when people around you doubt your potential or question your path. In those moments, God is calling you to stand strong in faith. Faith is the foundation that sustains you through the storms, the anchor that holds you steady when everything else seems to be falling apart. But faith is not merely a feeling. It is a deliberate choice to trust God's promises even when the evidence around you seems contrary. It is the decision to hold firm to what you know about God rather than what you see with your eyes or feel with your emotions. Standing strong in faith requires courage, persistence, and the confidence that God is with you, even when you cannot feel him in a tangible way. When trials come, and they will, they are often designed to strengthen your faith, to teach you perseverance, and to reveal the depth of God's power in your life. These trials are not punishments, they are opportunities for growth. Just as gold is refined by fire, your faith is refined by the challenges you face. Each obstacle, each disappointment, and each struggle is an opportunity to practice trusting God more deeply. In Ephesians 6:13, we are reminded to take up the full armor of God, so that you can stand against the schemes of the devil. The armor God provides is not decorative, it is practical, designed to protect, equip, Experience and strengthen you in the battles you face. Your faith, prayer, knowledge of God's word, and reliance on his spirit are all parts of this armor. Experience, they empower you to stand firm and resist the pressures that seek to shake your confidence. Faith is tested most when circumstances appear hopeless. Experience, it is easy to have faith when things are going well, when opportunities are abundant, and when life seems smooth. But real faith shows its strength when the odds are against you. Experience, when the path is unclear, and when the natural outcome seems impossible. This is when God's power can manifest most vividly in your life. Experience, the enemy will try to convince you that your efforts are in vain, that your prayers go unheard, and that your dreams will never be realized. Experience. But standing strong in faith means refusing to be swayed by appearances. It means remembering that God is bigger than your problems, wiser than your plans, experience, and more faithful than your circumstances. Faith sees beyond the present moment and trusts in the unseen hand of God working all things together for your good. Experience, standing strong in faith also requires persistence. It is not a one-time decision. It is a daily commitment. Every morning you wake up and face challenges. Experience, you must choose to trust God again. Every time fear or doubt whispers in your ear, you must choose to believe his promises over the lies of the enemy. Experience. This persistence is what builds spiritual strength. It is what transforms ordinary believers into people who leave a lasting impact. Experience, it is what allows you to endure when others would quit, to rise when others fall, and to shine when darkness surrounds you. Your faith is not just about surviving. Experience, it is about thriving in God's purpose despite the trials. Moreover, standing strong in faith means relying not on your own understanding, but on God's wisdom and guidance. Experience, it means seeking him in prayer, immersing yourself in his word, and surrounding yourself with encouragement from others who walk in faith. Faith is not passive. Experience, it is active engagement with God's promises. It is responding to his direction, obeying his instructions, and trusting his timing. When you stand strong, you demonstrate to God, experience, to yourself and to the world that his power in your life is greater than any obstacle you face. You become a living testimony of his faithfulness, his love, experience, and his ability to bring victory where defeat seems inevitable. Ultimately, standing strong in faith is about perspective. Experience, it is about viewing your circumstances through the lens of God's promises rather than the limitations of your current situation. Experience, it is about remembering that your life is in the hands of a God who never fails, never forgets, and never abandons his children. The challenges you face today are temporary. Experience, but the strength you develop through faith lasts forever. When you stand firm, you inspire hope, build resilience. Experience and position yourself for the blessings that God has prepared for you. The storms may rage, but anchored in faith, experience, you will not be moved. Fear is one of the most powerful forces that can hold a person back. It can paralyze your decisions, stifle your growth, experience, and prevent you from stepping into the destiny that God has prepared for you. But God is calling you today to courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Experience, it is moving forward in spite of fear. It is taking that step, speaking that word, or embracing that opportunity, even when the outcome is uncertain. Experience, God's message to you right now is clear. Do not allow fear to control your life because he is with you. His presence is the foundation of your courage. Experience, and his promises are the fuel that will sustain you when the path seems impossible to navigate. Throughout life, you will face situations that demand boldness, circumstances that require you to trust God beyond what you can see or understand. Perhaps it is a career decision that feels risky, experience, a personal relationship that needs healing, or a calling that requires faith to step into. Whatever the scenario, God's voice is urging you to move forward with confidence. Fear in Joshua 1:9 reminds us, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Experience, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Notice that the instruction is not merely to try to be courageous. Experience, it is to be strong and courageous because God himself is walking with you. You are not alone in this journey. The creator of the universe is actively working alongside you. Experience, equipping you and guiding your steps. Courage often demands action in the face of uncertainty. Waiting for perfect conditions before you act is a strategy for stagnation. Experience, God does not call us to wait for fear to vanish before stepping forward. He calls us to trust him in the midst of fear. Life will never be completely predictable. Experience and challenges will never completely disappear, but courage allows you to navigate those challenges with faith, not hesitation. Experience, every act of courage strengthens your character and aligns you more closely with God's plan. Experience, fear loses its grip when you focus not on the threat, but on the one who holds your life in his hands. Stepping out in courage also requires perseverance. Experience. The enemy will try to whisper doubts in your mind, convincing you that you are unqualified, unprepared, or too weak to succeed. But God's word reminds us that his strength is made perfect in weakness. Every time you confront fear with faith, experience, you demonstrate that your reliance is not on your own abilities, but on God's power. Courage is cultivated over time through repeated acts of trust and obedience. Experience, it is reinforced each time you take a step forward, even when fear is present. The small steps build momentum, and over time, experience, they transform your life into a testimony of God's faithfulness and provision. Courage is also about embracing responsibility and taking initiative. Experience. God often calls people to positions or opportunities that feel overwhelming because he wants to stretch their faith and grow their character. When you answer that call, experience, you become a vessel through which God can do extraordinary things. Your courage opens doors not only for your own growth, but also for the impact you can have on others. Experience. Your boldness can inspire someone who is watching you, encourage someone who has lost hope, and demonstrate the reality of God's presence and power. Courage, therefore, experience, is not just personal. It is relational and communal, affecting those around you as well. Finally, courage requires a perspective rooted in God's promises. Experience. When fear threatens to take over, remember that God has not given you a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. He sees the end from the beginning. Experience. He knows the obstacles, the challenges, and the victories that lie ahead. When you act with courage, you are aligning yourself with his divine plan, stepping into his timing. Experience and trusting that he will guide you every step of the way. Life may present uncertainties, but anchored in God's presence, you can face any situation with confidence. Experience. Every act of courage demonstrates faith in the God who never fails, never abandons. Experience and always directs his children toward victory. Many people go through life carrying burdens that are not theirs to carry. Past regrets, mistakes, disappointments. Experience or the pain caused by others can weigh heavily on the soul. Bitterness, anger, resentment, experience, and unforgiveness are like chains that keep you trapped in a cycle of pain and limitation. But God is speaking to you today to let go of what holds you back. Experience. These chains were never meant to define you. They were never meant to hinder the destiny that God has prepared for you. Experience. God desires freedom for his children, a freedom that comes when you release the weight of the past, surrender it to him, and allow his healing power to restore your heart. Experience. The first step in letting go is acknowledging that holding on does not change the past. It only affects your present and future. When you cling to regret, guilt, or bitterness, experience, you give power to those experiences over your life. You may think you are protecting yourself or punishing someone else by holding on, but in reality, experience, you are only hurting yourself. God's message is clear: release what you cannot control, forgive what you cannot undo, and trust him to make all things right. Experience. Matthew 11:28-30 reminds us, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This rest is not merely physical or emotional, it is spiritual. Experience. It is a release of the weight you were never meant to carry alone, a divine invitation to trade your burdens for God's peace and strength. Letting go also requires courage. Period. It is never easy to release something that has become familiar, even if it is painful. The past can feel like it defines you. Experience and memories of hurt can create a false sense of attachment. But God is calling you to a higher standard, to step into freedom and to trust that he will guide your steps. Experience. When you choose to let go, you create space for new blessings, new opportunities, and a new season of life. Experience. Holding on to what was meant to be released prevents God's new things from entering. By surrendering control, experience, you demonstrate faith in God's ability to orchestrate your life in ways far beyond your understanding. Forgiveness is central to this process. Experience. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean excusing wrongdoing. Experience. It means releasing the right to revenge and trusting God to handle justice according to his wisdom and timing. Experience. Holding on to anger only keeps you connected to the very pain that God wants to remove. When you forgive, you break the cycle of hurt and open the door for healing and restoration. Experience. Forgiveness is not only for others, it is for you. It is the key that unlocks your heart and allows you to move forward in freedom and purpose. Experience. God also wants you to let go of self-condemnation. Many people carry guilt and shame that were never meant to remain in their hearts. You may think you have made too many mistakes, fallen too far, or disappointed too many people to be used by God, but that is a lie. God's grace is greater than your past. His mercy covers your mistakes, and his power can transform your failures into stepping stones toward your calling. Every setback, every error, experience, and every moment of weakness can be redeemed when you surrender it to God. Letting go of guilt is an act of faith. Experience, a declaration that you trust God's grace and believe in his transformative power. Finally, letting go is a step into God's greater purpose for your life. Experience. When you release what holds you back, you create space for God to work in extraordinary ways. You free your heart to love more fully, your mind to think more clearly. Experience. And your spirit to move boldly into your calling. Life becomes less about the chains of the past and more about the possibilities of the future. Every burden you release, experience, every hurt you forgive, and every regret you surrender is replaced by God's peace, his joy, and his guidance. The freedom you embrace is not temporary. It is eternal in its impact. You step forward not as a victim of circumstances, experience, but as a victor empowered by God's presence and his promises. Your story is far from over, and God is preparing to do something extraordinary in your life. What may feel ordinary today, the routine moments, the quiet seasons, the unnoticed efforts, are all part of a divine preparation for something greater. Experience. God sees the full picture while we see only fragments. He knows the challenges you face, the victories you have yet to experience, and the opportunities that await you. Every step you have taken, every trial you have endured, experience, and every lesson you have learned has been orchestrated by him to position you for a future filled with promise and purpose. The ordinary is often the prelude to the extraordinary. Experience, and God is using this moment to shape you, strengthen you, and prepare you to step into a life that exceeds what you could imagine. Experience. Sometimes it is easy to become discouraged when progress seems slow or invisible. You may feel that your hard work, patience, and prayers are going unnoticed or unrecognized. Yet, God is at work behind the scenes. He is aligning people, circumstances, and opportunities in ways you cannot yet see. What seems like delay is not denial. Experience. What seems like silence is not absence. God's timing is perfect, and his preparation is meticulous. He knows exactly what you need when you need it. Experience, and how it will all come together. This requires patience and trust on your part, because the unfolding of God's plan rarely matches our own schedule. Experience, but it always results in fulfillment and blessing. God's preparation often involves refining your character. Before he can bless you with extraordinary opportunities, experience, he must ensure you are ready to handle them. He strengthens your faith, cultivates perseverance, and teaches you to rely on his wisdom rather than your own understanding. Experience. Challenges are not obstacles meant to stop you. They are exercises in growth designed to equip you for greater responsibilities. The lessons you learn in the waiting period. Experience, the endurance you develop through trials, and the resilience you gain in difficult seasons are all part of God's preparation. When the extraordinary arrives, experience, you will not only be ready to receive it, you will be ready to steward it wisely and use it for God's glory. This is also a moment to trust in God's vision, not your own. Often, we measure success by immediate results, visible recognition, or worldly achievements. But God's plans operate on a different level. Experience. He is orchestrating a story far beyond what we can perceive. Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord." Experience, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. The prosperity God promises is not just material, it is spiritual, emotional, and relational. Experience, it is a wholeness that aligns your purpose, calling, and destiny. When you trust him, you embrace a future that surpasses your expectations and fulfills your deepest need. Experience, faith plays a crucial role in stepping into the extraordinary. You cannot see the entire path ahead, but you are called to take each step with confidence in God's guidance. Experience. Every act of obedience, every prayer, and every moment of trust positions you for the breakthrough that God has planned. Sometimes the first steps are the hardest. Experience, because they require faith to move before the results are visible. Yet these steps demonstrate your readiness and willingness to cooperate with God's plan. Experience. Each small act of trust builds momentum and prepares you to receive the fullness of what God is orchestrating. Finally, experience. God's extraordinary plans are always for his glory as well as your good. What he is preparing is not only for your benefit, but also to impact the lives of others. The blessings, experience, opportunities, and achievements that come into your life are meant to inspire, encourage, and uplift those around you. Your story becomes a testimony, experience, a living proof of God's faithfulness, wisdom, and power. When you step into the extraordinary, experience, you demonstrate that God is not only present, but actively working in the lives of those who trust him. The ordinary turns into the extraordinary because God is faithful. Experience. And he uses your life as a vessel to accomplish his purposes. So if you are watching this today, take heart. God is preparing something remarkable in your life. Experience. The challenges you have faced, the patience you have practiced, and the faith you have held onto are all part of his divine plan. What seems small, delayed, Experience. Or ordinary today is laying the foundation for something extraordinary tomorrow. Trust him, remain faithful, and step boldly into the future he has prepared for you. Experience. God's best is coming, and it begins with your willingness to listen, believe, and obey.